On the first day back home, Gloria finally met the rumored little canary at the welcome banquet meticulously prepared by her husband. Through the slightly ajar private room door, the young girl appeared timid, her cheeks flushed with a tipsy glow. Wearing a faded shirt, she resembled a freshly ripened peach, tantalizingly juicy. Surrounded by the young masters, the girl was treated like an object, forced to drink as they cheered with triumphant howls. Shouting 10,000 per cup and demanding another round, Gloria watched, feeling a wave of discomfort rise within her. 5 years apart, and these young masters are still as spoiled and unruly as ever. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Just as she was about to push the door open, the elevator behind her creaked open, revealing Christian, 2 hours late, finally making his appearance. The man, dressed in a silk shirt with subtle patterns, hurried over with his long legs. His upturned fox-like eyes were slightly red at the corners. Breathing heavily, his hair disheveled, his gaze immediately landed on Gloria, and he approached with delight, draping his coat over her shoulders, his tone affectionate yet reproachful. Sorry baby, I'm late, why are you wearing so little? He affectionately wrapped his arm around Gloria's waist, playfully whining. But when his gaze casually drifted toward the private room, Gloria clearly felt the hand at her waist stiffen momentarily. Following the man's line of sight into the room, the young girl was coughing so hard that tears fell, and upon catching sight of Christian, she quickly lowered her head to wipe them away. The moment the teardrop fell, the angle of her profile, every detail was a perfectly crafted scene. Just as she had previously investigated, this girl wasn't as innocent as she appeared. In the corner, the cliched drama of bullying continued to unfold. The young master hooked Hilda's chin, smirking arrogantly. Gloria is back. Do you really think Christian would still want you? You're just Christian's little stand-in during his lonely phase. Someone in the crowd jeered. No matter what, you've been with Christian for 2 years. If you kneel and beg him, maybe he'll remember the past and give you some compensation for your efforts. The grip around her waist suddenly tightened. Gloria winced in pain and instinctively looked at the man beside her. The man seemed to sense it, cleared his throat lightly, quickly composed himself, and with Gloria in his arms, walked into the private room. His tone lazy. None of my damn business. He arranged Gloria's fruit platter and casually explained. Darling, I didn't sleep with her. I was just bored and kept her around for fun these 2 years, the moment you returned. I immediately told her to get lost. As soon as the words fell, the crowd erupted in exclamations of envy. After all, everyone knew Gloria and Christian had been childhood sweethearts. Had Gloria not gone abroad for further studies, they would have long since entered the marriage hall and become a model couple. Gloria responded absent-mindedly. She had long investigated Hilda's existence and didn't believe a single word of Christian's explanation now. In that case, let her go. In response, the man remained unusually silent. She followed Christian's gaze. In the corner, the playboy pouring drinks actually spilled alcohol onto Hilda's collarbone, taunting, "Stop dreaming. If Christian hasn't slept with you, I'll be the one to taste." He buried his face in Hilda's chest. Hilda couldn't move, only able to watch helplessly as Christian shed tears, crying out in despair. No, I have someone I love. I don't want to betray him. Christian was now staring expressionlessly at the opposite side, his eyes dark and turbulent. Gloria knew he was angry. Sure enough, the next second, the space beside her was empty, and the sound of shattering glass rang out in an instant. Christian strode forward with his long legs, picked up a bottle of wine, and smashed it directly over the young master's head, his face livid as he let out a furious roar. Who the hell gave you permission to touch her? Uncontrollable murderous intent filled his eyes. After the second strike, he raised his hand for a third, seeing things were about to turn fatal. His friend nearby urgently shouted, "Christian, stop." Christian turned his ice-cold gaze toward the man, his eyes sharp as frozen blades. What? You think he didn't deserve to die? The room fell into dead silence. Today was Gloria's welcome banquet. Christian had always prioritized her in everything, never losing his temper like this before. Everyone's gaze instinctively turned toward Gloria. The woman stood with her back straight, speaking coldly. "Christian, today is my welcome banquet. Don't cause any fatalities." Their eyes met. Moments later, Christian regained his composure. He put down the wine bottle in his hand, ran to Gloria and hugged her affectionately, pressing his forehead against Gloria's as he apologized. "Darling, I'm sorry. I got a little too angry and carried away just now. Don't hold it against me." He had someone drag the wretched dog on the floor out, then loudly announced everyone should enjoy themselves freely. All expenses for the night would be on his tab. but Gloria had already lost interest at this point. Let's go home, Christian agreed to everything, following her into the car and tucking a small blanket around her. Darling, Hilda is burdened with heavy debts, and her family members are bedridden. It's really hard for a young girl to survive like this. She resembles you. So it's fate that brought her to us. I helped her where I could, but in my heart there's only you. Your return to the country is the happiest thing for me in these 2 years. We can get married by the end of the month and be together forever. Gloria listened quietly. Christian was the best at being mushy, often spouting sweet nothings that would always make her blush, yet this time, her heart remained as calm as still water. She gazed into Christian's starry eyes, her voice unusually cold. Christian, you understand me best, don't lie to me, Gloria said word by word. If you've fallen for someone else, the engagement can be called off. She had always been capable of loving freely and letting go easily, but Christian darkened his expression. What are you thinking? You can only marry me, you're my wife. They returned home, and as night fell, Gloria was exhausted and quickly fell asleep, in the middle of the night. She suddenly woke up and reached out to touch the space beside her, only to find it as cold as the night. Christian had disappeared without her noticing when, after sitting in a daze for a while, she seemed to sense something and opened her social media feed. The newly added friend had indeed posted a photo of a large hand holding a small one, with the hospital as the backdrop. Caption, "Lucky to have you here." Gloria didn't know how long she had been staring until the first light of dawn. When she finally blinked her sore eyes, a tear rolled down and landed on the man's wedding ring in the picture. Inside its inner circle was engraved Gloria's name. She sniffled, switched to Trip, and bought a return ticket for the end of the month. Christian, when he came home, Gloria had just submitted her further study application. The teacher replied in surprise, "Didn't you give up before? You worked so hard to complete the 3-year course in just 2 years. Even damaging your health in the process. Wasn't it because your fiancé was waiting for you back home? But I'm very happy you can continue your studies. There are only 1 or 2 spots available each year. Congratulations in advance." Gloria remained silent for a moment. "We broke up. Thank you, teacher." Still keeping in touch with the teacher, "Haven't you already completed your studies?" Christian casually glanced at Gloria's phone screen and asked offhandedly. Gloria straightened up, instinctively wanting to find an excuse. Christian had already placed her favorite morning tea in front of her. "Honey, this place has such a long waiting list. I had to pull some strings and ask someone to go several times before I could get these for you. I'm planning to invest and become a shareholder, so you can have it whenever you want in the future. How convenient would that be?" The table was filled with steaming hot dim sum, but Gloria had no appetite at all and went straight to the point. "You went to the hospital last night." Christian paused, raising his eyebrows teasingly. "Did you install a radar on me? How did you know?" "Hilda's mom suddenly had a heart attack last night and was left helpless. Since I didn't have anything urgent to do, I went to help her out. There were so many hospital procedures, and she couldn't handle them all alone." Gloria let out a soft sigh. Christian's honesty left her unsure whether to feel happy or sad. Christian had been intimately entangled with her earlier in the night, only to be holding hands with a woman he once kept by the next half of the night. It might not even count as cheating, but Gloria admitted she wasn't a particularly forgiving woman. So she said, "Christian, I can't accept this. Maybe we should break." Before she could finish her words, with a bang, Christian slammed the bowl in his hand. "I've told you, there's nothing ambiguous between us. And I haven't hidden anything from you. Can we stop this now?" A sleepless night had left him somewhat irritable. "Didn't you come back to marry me? For you, I've pushed away Hilda and catered to your every wish. What more do you want? Gloria, you're just an orphan. Without me, you're even more helpless than Hilda, utterly worthless." As soon as the words fell, Gloria turned pale. Her orphan background was the most painful and unmentionable wound. This was the first time the man had so sharply and directly exposed her scar. She closed her eyes briefly, suppressing the surging emotions in her chest, then abruptly stood up and silently grabbed her suitcase to walk out. Christian only then realized what he had said. He forcefully snatched Gloria's suitcase, his knuckles turning white. "That's not what I meant. I'm just angry that you doubt my love for you, Gloria. I've loved you for 20 years. It hurts that you dismiss it all because of an outsider." Gloria tried hard to suppress her emotions, but her trembling voice betrayed the storm raging inside her. "I have excellent mentors abroad, and I can have a bright future. I can live without you." Christian kept saying yes, cupping her face and wiping away the red traces at the corners of her eyes with his fingertips, coaxing, "I know, my wife is so outstanding. I found out that Auntie's belongings were auctioned off. Let's go together." Okay, hearing this, Gloria agreed. Her mother had left her since childhood, leaving only a necklace as a keepsake, but not long after, the family fell into decline, and her father sold the necklace to pay off debts. She had been searching for it for a long time, and it had always been her regret. No matter what, she had to get this necklace back. Gloria lowered her head, concealing the complex emotions in her eyes. On the day of the auction, the necklace shoot went smoothly. Christian said he would go to the backstage to get the necklace, while Gloria stood waiting at the door. However, after waiting for a long time, what she received was a text message, "Underground parking lot, there's a surprise." Although the number sending the message was unfamiliar, Gloria had already memorized it. Her legs felt as if filled with lead as she inched her way there. The underground parking lot was filled with many cars, providing ample cover for her figure. She saw Hilda wearing their mother's necklace around her neck, the sight stinging her eyes. "Thank you for the gift, Mr. Christian, I really like it, but what about Mrs. Gloria?" Christian bit down on his cigarette and exhaled smoke, his expression unreadable. "I'll handle it, don't contact me again." Hilda let out a sob and nestled into Christian's arms like a little bird. "I understand, Mr. Christian, thank you." Christian darkened his gaze as the girl rubbed against him, grabbing her arm to push her away, but Hilda took a desperate gamble, suddenly standing on tiptoe to kiss Christian's lips, sobbing uncontrollably. "I won't disturb your happiness with Mrs. Gloria, but I love you so much, Mr. Christian. Please kiss me, just once." Hilda asks for nothing more, just a farewell kiss between friends. Gloria clearly saw Christian hesitate, his Adam's apple bobbed, clearly already aroused. After a few seconds, as if making some decision, he abruptly pinned the girl against the car and plundered her lips. The ambiguous sound of wet kisses reached Gloria's ears, turning into a numb buzzing. She wasn't one to run from things, but she also didn't want to humiliate herself. She staggered backward in despair, all the way to the auction house entrance, before pressing a hand to her knife-sharp chest and bursting into loud sobs. From youthful innocence to being inseparable, Christian and she have walked together for 20 years. At this moment, she could no longer deceive herself. The colorful memories had turned into fragile bubbles. Exhausted from crying, she ignored Christian's dozens of calls and stood by the roadside to hail a taxi alone. "Mrs. Gloria, how does it feel to be unloved?" A flushed Hilda stood before her with the air of a victor. "It must be unbearable, but when I was by Mr. Christian's side, I tasted this bitterness time and again. You weren't there, yet his thoughts were filled with you. Why? How unfair." "My body is younger, and I love him more than you do," Gloria asked. "Because you're the universally despised homewrecker." Hilda snorted and smiled brightly. "So what if I'm the other woman? It's just a phase. Man can conquer nature." She stretched out her fingers, dangling Gloria's mom's necklace, swaying it up and down. "This is what you've been longing for." "Right, TSK. I just shed a few tears, and Mr. Christian personally put it on me. Tell me, does Mr. Christian really not love me?" Gloria's heart nearly stopped as she clenched her fists. "Name your price, I'll buy it from you," Hilda cheerfully agreed. And in the next moment, the necklace fell with a clatter, the pendant shattered into pieces on the ground. Hilda crushed them into fragments with her high heels and asked lightly, "Tell me, how much is it worth now?" Her mother's favorite heirloom had just fallen into the dust. Gloria clenched her teeth and slapped Hilda across the face. "Gloria," Christian appeared out of nowhere, shielding Hilda behind him, his voice stormy. "When did you become so unreasonable? Completely irrational." Each accusation stabbed into Gloria's heart. She dug her nails into her palms, holding back tears, and raised her head with quiet dignity. "You don't know the whole story. What right do you have to blame me? If you've already decided to give Mom's necklace to her, why bother bringing me to this auction with such hypocrisy?" Christian froze, unable to respond in time, while Hilda reddened around the eyes and began to cry, feigning strength. "Mr. Christian, it's my fault. I shouldn't have shown up and annoyed Mrs. Gloria. I shouldn't have hoped for decent jewelry at my graduation ceremony either. Someone as worthless as me should just rot in the dirt, moldy and foul. I'm sorry, Mr. Christian, Miss Gloria." Hilda bowed, then turned and ran away. A small car sped past from around the corner, followed by the screech of sudden brakes. Hilda was thrown into Christian, becoming a bloody mess. The ambulance arrived quickly. Gloria was still in a daze when a thick needle pierced the back of her hand. The sharp pain made her jerk her head up in disbelief. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. Christian pressed his lips into a thin line. "Both you and Hilda are Rh negative. She was hit because of you and is now bleeding heavily, fighting for her life in the hospital. You must take responsibility for her." Gloria wondered if she was hearing things. In her haste to return to Christian, she worked tirelessly day and night for 2 years, which led to anemia, and Christian was well aware of this, but now, he actually asked her to donate blood. She immediately reached to pull out the needle. There's no way I'm helping her, she disrespected me first. She was the one who rushed out. She took my mother's keepsake. Enough, Gloria. Christian grabbed her hand and shouted angrily. Is a dead person's possession more important than a living life? This is no excuse for you to humiliate Hilda. The man's large hand was as cold as iron. Gloria felt the blood in her body reverse its flow, and it took her a long time to find her voice again. This is the mother who gave birth to me and raised me. How dare you compare my dearest family to a mistress? Christian heavily exhaled, pressing the corners of his eyes. It was an inappropriate analogy, but Hilda is lying here because of you. You're not an outsider. In the end, she had no choice but to give blood. Suddenly, several bodyguards rushed forward from the side and restrained Gloria. She was exhausted both physically and mentally, the loss of blood making her vision begin to blur. Gloria only heard the nurse hesitate. This lady's face is turning pale. There's a risk of blood loss. Should we continue drawing? The next moment, she heard Christian's icy voice. She's always been like this. It's fine. Hilda's situation is more urgent. Draw. Her long lashes were wet with tears. Gloria didn't even have the strength to force a smile. After having 5 whole blood bags drawn, Hilda seemed to wake up beside him, whimpering like a kitten. Mr. Christian. Christian immediately released Gloria's hand and said softly, I'm here. Hilda seemed to be in a nightmare. Miss Gloria, no, Mr. Christian, please, let the others leave, right now. I only need you. Christian cast a cold glance at Gloria. Hilda needs emotional stability. Get out of the car. Gloria struggled to prop herself up, her vision blanking out as she nearly fainted. At that moment, the ambulance had driven into some dark alley and came to a stop. At this moment Christian had eyes only for Hilda. He looked at Gloria and issued an unquestionable command. Get out. An assistant will pick you up later. The moment the ambulance door opened, she was immediately kicked out by a bodyguard, her knees hitting the stones with excruciating pain. This place is barren, with cold winds howling incessantly, and the occasional roars of unknown animals echoing in the distance. Gloria huddled in the corner, shivering uncontrollably as cold and fear intertwined, waiting for Christian's so-called assistant. Yet, as dawn approached, no one came. Her willpower finally gave out, and she collapsed into unconsciousness. When she opened her eyes again, it was to the side of a hospital ceiling. The nurse looked at her in surprise. Where did you get the courage to go to such a place and faint? If it weren't for a kind stranger, you'd have lost your life. Gloria gave a self-deprecating smile, realizing there was never any assistant coming to pick her up. The hospital's final diagnosis was severe anemia, requiring a 3-day hospitalization. After a day of 4 nutrients, Gloria got up and left the ward. Her gaze inadvertently lifted and fell upon the neighboring ward. It turned out to be Christian and Hilda. Christian was feeding Hilda medicine. Hilda, her little face scrunched up. It's so bitter, I don't want to drink it. Christian chuckled, dotingly tapping her nose. There'll be candy later. Hilda still shook her head, her eyes brimming with spring-like tenderness, pouting her red lips coquettishly. No candy, it'll make me fat. But if Mr. Christian rewards me, the man's eyes darkened. And the next second Hilda's trailing words were cut off by Christian's lips, swallowed whole as she was kissed breathless, left gasping and moaning. Gloria withdrew her gaze. Everything was proceeding exactly as she'd anticipated. No man could resist the advances of a younger woman, not even Christian. She turned to leave but accidentally kicked the door, making a noise. Just as she locked eyes with Christian, the man quickly released Hilda and blurted out his first words. Cold and hard as stone, are you following us? Gloria felt as if a heavy stone were pressing on her chest. Unwilling to explain, she turned away without a word and walked back to her hospital room. Christian followed her and only then noticed Gloria's hospital gown. Frowning, he asked, what happened? Gloria did not respond. Putting on the oxygen mask, Christian softened his tone, with a hint of reconciliation. Honey, I reflected on last night, and I was a bit impulsive, but Hilda is just a girl who hasn't graduated yet. Why must you drive her to ruin? I can promise you'll be the only one after marriage. Can you promise not to bully Hilda anymore? Gloria lowered her eyes quietly, her face as pale as a doll's. Christian, I've already bought the plane tickets and signed the contract to continue my studies at the university. Let's cancel the wedding. Only, there was no response from Christian. Looking up, Gloria realized his phone screen was filled with long green message bubbles, and the profile picture opposite belonged to Hilda. Christian lifted his head, his face inexplicably dark. Gloria, what are you up to again? Why do you keep targeting Hilda? He shoved the screen right in front of Gloria. It's a transfer slip, with the sender being Gloria and the recipient Hilda, for an amount of 2 million. The signs of photo editing were glaringly obvious. Gloria sneered. Such clumsy tricks could actually fool Christian now. As expected, in the eyes of men, a green tea girl can do no wrong. She coldly looked at the man. I, Gloria, would never engage in such a low-level transaction. Christian shook his head. His eyes filled with disappointment. If you didn't do it, then was it Hilda who staged it herself? She's so innocent, how could she possibly frame you? I think you knew that Hilda's mother urgently needed money, so you exploited her vulnerability to force her to leave me. Gloria, is this what you learned abroad, bullying others with your power and acting all high and mighty? I misjudged you. With that, Christian left. For the next 2 days, he did not set foot in Gloria's hospital room. Gloria could see him every day, supporting Hilda as they walked intimately together in the corridor. When it was time to be discharged, Gloria left alone, but before she could even leave the hospital, she was abducted. When she woke again, the metallic scent of blood filled her nose. She looked around to find herself in a cold warehouse, surrounded by several menacing-looking thugs. She and Hilda were tied to adjacent chairs. Seeing she was awake, the kidnapper brandished a cold glinting knife between their faces. Tell me, whose skin should I test this new blade on first? Hilda turned pale and let out a scream, shouting, who are you? Don't touch me. Gloria was trying to loosen the hemp rope around her wrists, just beginning to make some progress. She suppressed her nervousness, hushed the girl's scream, and calmly looked at the kidnapper to buy time. Who are you? Why did you bring us here? The kidnapper narrowed his eyes, his gaze sweeping over Hilda's face, but suddenly pressed the blade against Gloria's neck. I've long heard of Mr. Christian's reputation. I'm a bit short on cash lately. Mr. Christian is truly blessed with beautiful women. I just wonder, between a domestic flower and a wild one, which one would Mr. Christian find more fragrant? The cold edge of the blade against her skin made Gloria tremble uncontrollably. She had grown up pampered and spoiled, never having experienced such a situation before. Yet now, she could only force herself to remain composed. I advise you to let us go early. I know Christian. By this time, he's already on his way here. He hates being threatened more than anything. When he arrives, your life will be over. As she spoke, the rope around her wrist was just a few steps away from being untied. She secretly observed her surroundings, looking for a chance to escape. Upon hearing this, the kidnapper froze for a moment, his expression slightly wavering. He was about to speak when, at that moment, the door was violently kicked open, and a tall figure rushed in hurriedly. Gloria widened her eyes. It was Christian. They were saved. The man was panting heavily. He had received the kidnapper's threats early on and had contacted the police, but they were still on their way. He had rushed over first, seeing the disheveled state of the two women before him. His gaze darkened, a storm of emotions churning in his eyes. He spoke coldly, looking at the kidnapper. Let them go, name your price, and I'll pay whatever you want. But the kidnapper didn't take the bait. His sinister gaze swept over Christian's bare surroundings, confirming he had come alone, before letting out a disdainful snort. Mr. Christian, your reputation precedes you. My demand is simple, 5 million to ransom one woman. As for the other, he licked the blade's edge. It's been too long since I've had fresh meat. Mr. Christian's woman must taste exquisite. Christian darkened his expression, his tone sinister. Bargaining with me? Do you have a death wish? I'll take both of them. But at that moment, the kidnapper sneered and used the blade to cut a wound on Hilda's fair shoulder, grinning eerily. In my game, you play by my rules. At this moment, Hilda's lips turned pale. She let out a startled cry, but upon seeing Christian, she steeled herself and spoke with trembling resolve. Mr. Christian, Ms. Gloria is your wife. Save her. As for me, it doesn't matter. After all, my life was never worth much. I just hope that after I die, Mr. Christian will take care of my family. Before she could finish speaking, the kidnapper lightly drew the knife across her collarbone again. The girl couldn't stop screaming, her white clothes now stained red with blood, a horrifying sight. The kidnapper licked the blood from the blade and spoke impatiently. Mr. Christian, hurry up. If this drags on, I can't guarantee these two will stay alive. He tossed a prepared note with the bank account number in front of Christian and urged, 5 million. Transferred to this account within 2 minutes. Christian's dark gaze fell upon Gloria's unharmed body, then shifted to the blood-covered Hilda. A few seconds later, he abruptly closed his eyes, his voice as hoarse as withered wood. I promise you, release Hilda. Gloria looked at the man in disbelief, her face deathly pale. They had been together for 10 years, yet at the critical moment, he actually chose Hilda. Indeed, a man's vows are nothing but a joke. She closed her eyes and tilted her head back, stubborn tears sliding down her jawline, falling to the ground and shattering into pieces. From this day forward, she would no longer harbor any illusions. Got it. The kidnapper grinned with satisfaction upon hearing the answer. Had you been this straightforward earlier, this little beauty wouldn't have had to suffer so much. Soon, 5 million was transferred to the kidnapper's account. Christian averted his gaze from Gloria and looked at Hilda as he spoke. Let's go. Gloria watched helplessly as Christian picked up the girl and left. As he passed by her, he paused briefly but didn't stop. Perhaps she had completely given up, for at this moment, she couldn't feel even the slightest ripple of emotion. Silently, she watched the two of them leave, in an unnoticed corner. She also untied the rope binding her wrist and pulled out a small knife for self-defense. From this moment on, there was no one behind her. She could rely only on herself. In the corner, the kidnapper locked the iron door, took off his clothes, and rubbed his hands together with a lewd grin. Little beauty, TSK, abandoned, aren't you? How pitiful. Let me take good care of you. Gloria turned around, the blade in her hand flashing with a cold, resolute light. She aimed it at the kidnapper, her tone fierce. Take one step closer, and I'll kill you. But the kidnapper didn't take her seriously at all. The strength gap between men and women was vast. He dodged Gloria's wild stabs and dislocated Gloria's wrist. With a crack, Gloria was drenched in sweat. The kidnapper chuckled. His indescribable foul breath sprang onto Gloria's neck, as expected of Mr. Christian's woman, so fragrant. Gloria was pinned to the cold ground, enduring the kidnapper's brutality upon her body, until he straightened up to tear her clothes. She kicked him in the crotch, then endured the pain and picked up the dagger. This time, it was aimed at herself. Guess what? If I die, will the entire capital circle, the Clement family, and the Carnell family let you off? Her blade plunged violently into her abdomen, blood gushing out. She coughed up blood, smiled, her whole demeanor a bit recklessly insane. Today, either you die or I perish. Let's see how long you can survive once you step out of this warehouse. This life-threatening demeanor finally intimidated the kidnapper. He froze for a moment, realizing this woman was ready to die. Having just secured 5 million, he wasn't willing to lose his life before enjoying the spoils. With that thought, he quickly stood up, spat, "What bad luck," and then fled in panic. The kidnappers had finally left. Gloria collapsed weakly onto the ground. This time, she had finally saved herself. Gloria took a long time to recover before struggling to her feet and stumbling out of the dark, abandoned warehouse. As she looked up, Christian was rushing toward her, his clothes disheveled. The man saw her and breathed a sigh of relief. "Honey, I'm sorry. I'm not giving up on you. It's just that Hilda's condition is very bad, and she just had surgery. I'm afraid she might have a mental breakdown. To minimize the damage, I had to rescue her first. I believe you can definitely handle it alone. My Gloriotti is so capable. I remember when you were kidnapped abroad before, you managed to escape on your own." Gloria pushed away Christian's hand, curling her lips into a mocking sneer. She never imagined the man's excuse could be so flimsy. The near-death experience she had once shared with Christian had now become the blade he thrust into her. Christian forcibly pulled the silent Gloria into the car. When he saw the bleeding wound on her abdomen, he froze. "Sweetheart, does it hurt?" Gloria blocked his reaching hand, her voice hoarse. "Don't touch me. Disgusting." Christian clenched his fists, at a loss. "Sweetheart, I'm sorry. I came too late. I didn't know." The lingering sound faded as their eyes met. How could he not know? Kidnappers either want money or lust. How could he not have foreseen the consequences when he abandoned her in that deserted parking lot? It's just that Hilda mattered more to him. When the woman didn't respond, he murmured softly, "It's my fault, darling. I'll make the kidnappers pay." After speeding all the way, the car had barely stopped when Christian unbuckled his seatbelt to get up, only to find the woman beside him had already slammed the car door shut and was striding straight toward a figure in the distance. He was about to chase after her, when Hilda appeared. The girl's exposed neck was covered in bruises, her hair disheveled, eyes swollen from crying as she threw herself into Christian's arms. "Mr. Christian, it hurts so much. I'm filthy now. I couldn't face you." Christian's breathing grew rapid and heavy, his suppressed rage boiling over. "What happened to you?" Hilda watched Gloria leave silently, seeming conflicted before hesitantly confessing after a long pause. "I just found out, Ms. Gloria made a deal with the kidnappers. She gave them my address. When I returned home, they were already hiding in the hallway waiting for me. I barely escaped when they weren't looking. The girl trembled uncontrollably with fear. Christian immediately forgot his earlier emotions, staring at Gloria in disbelief as his voice rose sharply. Gloria. Did you arrange all this? But Gloria remained unruffled, her pupils clear and distinct. Christian, I won't admit to something I didn't do. The determination and mockery in her eyes pierced Christian's gaze. The man hesitated, caught off guard. At that moment, Hilda grabbed his sleeve and sobbed, Mr. Christian, I called the police as soon as I escaped. They've already caught him and are on their way here. Christian pursed his lips tightly, his heart feeling as if gripped by something. Should we wait for the police to investigate thoroughly? The man's words were abruptly cut off by a sharp shout. It's her. The sound of police sirens grew closer as officers escorted the kidnapper out of the car. Pointing at Gloria, this is the woman. She gave the kidnapper another woman's information, telling them they could do whatever they wanted to her, as long as they let her go. The kidnapper swallowed hard and added, she also said that this woman was the mistress who seduced her husband. If I could take compromising photos of her, she would give me another sum of money. As soon as the words fell, Hilda collapsed into near hysterical sobs. Mrs. Gloria, I loved Mr. Christian so much, yet I was willing to step aside for his happiness, and still you're not satisfied. Must you drive me to my death? Gloria understood that everything was directed at her. She felt an overwhelming sense of absurdity in that moment. Raising her eyes to Hilda, she demanded sharply, do you claim it was me? What concrete evidence can you produce? Upon hearing this, Hilda tore open her already precarious collar, revealing the bruises beneath. Isn't this enough, Mrs. Gloria? Do you really want me to explain in detail how he mistreated me? An eerie silence fell over the scene, so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The next moment, Christian's voice shattered the stillness. Enough. The man took off his coat and draped it over Hilda, casting a look of utter disappointment at Gloria. At this point, even the police have identified you. How can you still deny it? He glanced at the bodyguard behind him and ordered, lock her in the basement to reflect on her actions. Gloria looked up in disbelief. Christian, what right do you have to punish me? Have you forgotten I have claustrophobia? Back then, she nearly lost her life due to claustrophobia, and every detail of that incident was something Christian knew all too well. Yet the man merely stood there for a moment before speaking again, his voice cold and unyielding. Precisely because I know. This is the only way to teach you a lesson, so you'll remember your mistake. As long as you apologize to Hilda, I'll let you out. The bodyguard stepped forward, forcefully dragging her toward the basement. No matter how much she struggled, it was futile. Mrs. Gloria, don't blame us. You can only blame the fact that Mr. Christian now favors Miss Hilda. After speaking, the bodyguard nodded slightly and slammed the door shut as he left. The pitch-black basement seemed to transform into a murderous cage. Gloria curled up in a corner, gradually beginning to experience ringing in her ears. Her stomach churned violently, and her forehead throbbed with the urge to vomit. Help, someone save me. Gloria, her eyelashes trembled as all her fears, along with the darkness, came crashing down on her like a 1,000-pound weight. This was the second time her fatal flaw had become a blade in the hands of her former lover. After what felt like days and nights, the basement door was suddenly flung open. The light from outside poured into the dim basement, and in the haze, Gloria saw Hilda's twisted face. The girl stepped forward quickly, grabbing Gloria's hair, gritting her teeth in anger. You damned bitch, what kind of seductive trick did you use that Mr. Christian still wants to marry you? The pain in her scalp forced Gloria to tilt her neck back, but she couldn't respond. Hilda sneered, leaning close to Gloria's ear and whispering coldly, in that case, I'll show you something even more severe. With that, she pulled out an iron cage from behind. Gloria heard the sounds of dozens of rats and instantly tensed up, instinctively stepping back, but it was already too late. Hilda threw the open cage into Gloria's arms. Enjoy yourself, fiancée Mrs. Gloria. As her vision returned to darkness, Gloria felt a rat bite her arm hard. A sharp pain spread through her body. She cried out in pain, flung the rat away, and quickly retreated to a corner. Her forehead hit the edge of the table, and her vision went dark. For the entire night, Gloria was consumed by extreme terror. She couldn't see where the rats were, only hearing their eerie squeaking sounds, which sent chills down her spine. The next day, Gloria was let out by the maid. The servant, following Hilda's orders, applied heavy makeup on Gloria before she went to see Christian, to conceal the aftermath of last night's ordeal. But Christian knew Gloria too well and saw through it instantly. He hesitated for a moment. Just one night locked up. How did you become so haggard? Gloria turned her head away, unwilling to engage with him. Thanks to you and Hilda. Her prickly attitude deepened Christian's anger. It seems you still haven't realized your mistake. Hilda not only personally visited you last night to bring you food but also pleaded for your release today. Gloria, you should thank Hilda for her magnanimity. Gloria didn't even have the strength to sneer, her heart no longer stirred by the slightest ripple. Hilda, holding Christian's arm, shook her head gently. It's all right, Mr. Christian, you and Miss Gloria are the perfect couple from now on. She took out a wedding dress from the side, her face full of love. Mr. Christian, if Ms. Gloria could wear the wedding dress I designed myself and walk down the aisle with you, it would be as if I were always by your side. Can you grant me one last wish? Hilda asked for nothing more. The girl's cautious manner of seeking affection softened Christian's heart instantly. She always knew her place, so understanding it was heartbreaking. Of course. He ordered the servant to take Gloria away to try on the dress, then turned to the numb Gloria and said sternly, "Go now." Gloria was led to the dressing room like a marionette by the servants, her alertness making her notice a strange smell from the inner layer of the wedding dress. The hired help was strong as an ox, swiftly pinning her down to change her clothes. As the inner layer of the wedding dress touched the rat-bitten wound, a sharp, bone-piercing pain erupted instantly. It was pepper spray. The skin around the wound burned with a fiery sting. She desperately tried to take off the wedding dress, but without realizing what she had touched, the pristine gown tore into tattered rags, just as the servant loudly called out, "Mr. Christian." Hilda flashed a smug look in her eyes and hurried over with Christian. Looking at the wedding dress scattered on the floor, Hilda deliberately gasped, her eyes glistening with tears. "Mrs. Gloria, if you didn't like it, you could have just refused. Why destroy it? This was my most precious creation. If it weren't for Mr. Christian, I would never have agreed to let you wear it." Hilda ran out in a mix of anger and hurt. Christian fumed with rage, cutting off Gloria before she could speak. "Don't tell me you're going to claim Hilda tampered with the wedding dress. Are you that obsessed with framing Hilda? Sew it properly for me. For our wedding, you can only wear this wedding dress, otherwise the wedding is off." He went out to chase Hilda, unaware that Gloria was more than pleased with this outcome, but the servant beside her let out a malicious laugh at that moment. "Mrs. Gloria, this was all ordered by Miss Hilda. Don't blame us for being impolite." She brought out an entire basin of chilly water, 100 times more concentrated than what was on the wedding dress. With a splash, the pepper water was poured onto Gloria's wound, the searing pain making Gloria feel as if she had descended into hell, her entire body burning in flames. "Be sensible and don't provoke Miss Hilda. You should withdraw from the engagement voluntarily. She is the future Mrs. Joe." Violence swept over her like a tidal wave, and Gloria collapsed to the ground, soon losing consciousness. By the time she woke again, night had fallen. Dazed, she stumbled outside, only to trip over her own luggage outside the servants' quarters and fall heavily to the ground. Next to the servants' room is the master bedroom, where she heard Hilda's voice. "Mr. Christian, I should still go explain to Mrs. Gloria. After all, it's not right to take her master bedroom." Christian replied calmly. "She exposed your address. Who knows if the kidnapper had accomplices? This is what she owes you." Hilda whispered shyly. "Mr. Christian, I'm still a little scared. Could you hold me while I sleep, just like last night?" Only Christian's hoarse response was heard. "Okay." Gloria closed the door, cutting off their conversation outside. She had had enough and wanted to leave immediately, not wanting to have the slightest connection with these two people anymore. The day she left was the eve of the wedding, with the servants busily preparing the decorations for the ceremony. Miss Hilda said to hang the balloons here. She likes this color, and here. All the lilies in the garden must be pulled out. Plant roses instead. Miss Hilda loves roses. Take down and throw away the engagement photos of Mrs. Gloria and Mr. Christian. Miss Hilda doesn't like them being here. Why aren't you moving faster? Mr. Christian has given full authority to Miss Hilda to handle everything. The so-called new house is entirely decorated according to Hilda's preferences. Gloria zipped up her suitcase and let out a long sigh as she looked out the window. She would be able to leave soon. At that moment, Christian and Hilda walked in together. The man glanced around the festive new room, his eyes unexpectedly shimmering with Gloria's incomprehensible hints of a smile. He took out an intricately patterned diamond ring and without hesitation slipped it onto Gloria's ring finger. "See if it fits." Yet, when slipped onto the finger, it felt empty at the base, and with the slightest movement, the ring would slide down. Gloria watched calmly, seeing through it at a glance. "This is Hilda's size." Christian stiffened, looking into Gloria's unruffled eyes, his heart tightening, as if the wedding he had been longing for meant nothing to her. Maybe the designer made a mistake. I'll have him make another one, honey. Tomorrow is our wedding day, aren't you happy? Gloria responded absent-mindedly and casually tossed the ring into her bag. I have things to do. However, that night, a servant picked up the diamond ring from the trash and handed it to Christian. Mr. Christian, I saw Ms. Gloria throw it away. Under Christian's displeased gaze, Gloria froze, realizing her bag was indeed empty. It was stolen. Hilda flushed and feigned surprise. This is a wedding ring. How could you act so impulsively? Or perhaps, Ms. Gloria minds my presence, Hilda said in a low voice, but I can't bear to see Mr. Christian running around for the wedding all by himself. You don't know, Mr. Christian hasn't slept for dozens of hours. At this point, Hilda seemed to muster great courage. This is a wedding for two, yet you're staying out of it. That's not fair to Mr. Christian either. Christian's expression darkened further as Hilda spoke from the heart, thinking of Gloria's indifferent attitude and his own joy as the wedding approached. Feeling like nothing more than a clown, he said coldly, Gloria. How long do you intend to keep this up? This marriage is what you've always dreamed of, not something I forced upon you. When will you finally understand that it's you, an orphan with no one to rely on, who needs this marriage, not me, Christian? He had upheld his promise to marry her. What right did she have to sulk and pull a long face? Gloria, her fingers dug into her palms. Christian, I gave up my career abroad to return home, and in your eyes. Does that mean I came seeking your protection? If that's the case, then there's nothing more to say. I don't care about the wedding or anything else, as long as you're happy. With those words, she turned and left without hesitation. Her resolute departure left Christian puzzled. He was about to speak when Hilda pulled him back. Mr. Christian, the surgical site hurts so much. His attention was instantly diverted. Leaving no room for further thought, Gloria closed the door. Sealing their figures behind her, she left her phone at the entrance, removed the SIM card, and headed alone to the airport. Her flight was in the early hours, and by now, she could hardly wait for her new life to begin. Christian, goodbye forever. I can't wait to see Hilda's true colors revealed. What kind of expression will you have then? Hilda was carried to the large bed, blushing as she wrapped her arms around Christian's neck. Mr. Christian, thank you, she was about to say more. Christian pushed her away, looking tense. Wait a moment. He turned and left the room, only to find the hallway completely empty. His mind went blank. Christian grabbed an assistant by the collar and shouted, Gloria, didn't I tell you to stop her? The assistant trembled. But, weren't you concerned about Miss Hilda? I thought you were just speaking casually. Gloria has always been my fiancée. How dare you ignore her? Christian veins bulged on his forehead. Get out of my sight and bring Gloria back. He went back to his room to get the car keys and pulled out his phone intending to call Gloria. Hilda grabbed his wrist to stop him. Mr. Christian, could you take me to the hospital? The wound from the car accident still hurts so much. Christian hesitated for a moment, but the image of Gloria's back flashed before his eyes. I'll have assistantly take you there. Hilda didn't let go. Tomorrow was the wedding. And after finally driving Gloria away, this night was her only chance to change her fate. Her tears fell in a continuous stream. Mr. Christian, Ms. Gloria is just angry for the moment. She cares so much about this marriage that she must be using her departure to threaten you into taking the initiative to yield. Don't be fooled by her. If you ignore her, she will definitely come back obediently. Just now, Ms. Gloria pushed me away, and it probably pulled at the wound. It really hurts. The doctor said that if it's not treated promptly, the wound will fester. I'm so scared. Could you personally take me to the hospital? The girl cried until her face was drenched in tears. Christian remained silent for a while but eventually shook his head. Hilda, no matter what, Gloria is my wife, from childhood to now, that will never change. It was also my impulsiveness earlier. I hurt her with harsh words. I want to make things clear with her, tomorrow. She will be the happiest bride in the world, Hilda sobbed as she tried to kiss Christian. Mr. Christian, I know, I've never had any improper thoughts, but you're getting married tomorrow, so please let me borrow you for just one last night, okay? I love you. I love you so much, Mr. Christian. Outside, dark clouds loomed ominously, mirroring Christian's heart, oppressive and terrifying. Without hesitation, he avoided Hilda's lips. Hilda, earlier, Gloria hurt you. And I was only making up for what she owed you. The one I've always loved is Gloria. I'm sorry, Hilda still pleaded, crying about her hardships. But Christian could only think of the time he sent Gloria abroad. Gloria's personality was completely different from Hilda's. She rarely cried before, and he mostly saw her smiling. But on the day she went abroad, she unusually leaned against his shoulder, her eyes red, asking him to wait for her return, promising she would come back very soon. He held her tightly, as if to merge her into his very bones, vowing that she would be the only one for him in this lifetime. But looking at the Hilda before him, Christian realized with a shock that this promise had faded after Gloria's return. The girl who once longed to return home quickly, after coming back, cried helplessly several times and resolutely said she would cancel their wedding. Suddenly, a thunderclap sounded. Hilda screamed in fear, "Mr. Christian, it's thundering." Every time there was thunder abroad, Gloria would call across the ocean, saying she missed him even more. Christian suddenly stood up, no longer dwelling on right or wrong, and quickly walked out of the room to message Gloria, "Gloria, where are you? Let's talk properly, there might have been many misunderstandings before. Tomorrow is our wedding day, and our wish is about to come true. I hope we both enter the marriage hall happily, okay?" After carefully editing the wording for a long time, what was sent over turned out to be a shocking exclamation mark. Christian froze on the spot. Just as he happened to pass by Gloria's servant quarters, the door was wide open, revealing the emptiness left behind after her departure. All Gloria's traces of existence had vanished. As if the woman he deeply loved had never appeared in his life, panic completely overwhelmed Christian, who no longer cared about his appearance as he dashed out into the heavy rain. Just before the car sped away, Hilda appeared with an umbrella. "Mr. Christian, I couldn't rest easy. Let me come with you to find Mrs. Gloria." Hurry up." Christian thought for the first time that Hilda was too talkative. Unlike Gloria's straightforwardness, the car door slammed shut. And with a roar of the engine, it plunged into the darkness. The rain fell in dense sheets, pounding on the car roof with a deafening sound. Christian was anxious, constantly looking around, desperately hoping to spot a familiar figure. But 2 hours had passed with no success, yet he was powerless, left to search aimlessly. He had no idea Gloria would go. Everything in this country was unfamiliar to her. She could only rely on herself, let alone at this late hour. Christian repeatedly pressed Gloria's contact number, but each time, he was met with endless beep, beep tones, with no one answering or hanging up. In the thunderstorm night, Christian's agitation and panic reached their peak. Mr. Christian couldn't reach Mrs. Gloria. Christian turned his head and saw Hilda's pale face. Remembering she was unwell yet still accompanied him to search for Gloria, his tone softened. "Not yet. I've already sent someone to check the surveillance footage." As soon as he finished speaking, his assistant reported, "Mr. Christian, the thunderstorm caused a short circuit in the entire surrounding surveillance system. It's still being repaired. We've also sent someone to investigate the airport information. Please rest assured, we'll work as quickly as possible." The airport. Hilda was surprised, almost unable to suppress the corners of her lips from curling upward. She coughed lightly. "If Ms. Gloria has left, wouldn't that mean only you will be attending tomorrow's wedding? What will the guests think of Mr. Christian then?" Hilda couldn't hide her excitement. "Mr. Christian, I can stand by your side in Ms. Gloria's place. The guests won't know. I'll wear a veil." "Impossible." Christian pursed his pale lips tightly. "Only Gloria can stand by my side." "Hilda, this is the last time I'll repeat myself. I don't want to hear these words from you again." The car fell into dead silence. Christian drove around searching the entire way but ultimately returned empty-handed. When he stepped back into the house, Christian was dripping with rainwater, but his heart felt colder than his body. He had clashed with Gloria before, but Gloria would never leave without a word. She always waited for both of them to cool down, giving each other a chance to communicate, without exception. But this time, Christian felt as if he were trapped in quicksand, struggling to catch his breath. The phone clutched in his hand was lit up, displaying countless messages he had sent, each marked with an exclamation point at the beginning. Gloria had robbed him of the chance to explain. It seemed he had hurt her too deeply, with little hope. He dialed the number for the 100th time. Christian then heard the familiar ringtone just beyond the door before it was abruptly cut off. Christian, his heartbeat stopped for a moment, then raced frantically. He couldn't wait to push the door open. Standing in the entryway was Hilda. Gloria's phone emitted an eerie blue glow in her hand, highlighting her pupils constricted with extreme fear. "What's wrong?" Christian reached out to her, his expression a mix of disappointment and confusion. "Gloria's phone. Why is it here?" Hilda deeply regretted not having deleted everything from the phone in time. Facing the towering Christian, she forced an awkward smile and hid the phone behind her back. "Mr. Christian, you must be mistaken. This is my phone." It was a flimsy excuse, but Hilda knew she absolutely couldn't let this phone fall into Christian's hands. Otherwise, her entire plan would be ruined. Damn Gloria, she never imagined this woman had such capabilities. Truly determined to drive her to the brink, Christian frowned and pressed Gloria's phone number again. The ringtone sounding once more, Hilda's lie collapsed on its own. Christian stared at her heavily and spoke with undeniable authority. Give it to me. Her heart rate far exceeded 200. Hilda was on edge, with no choice but to gamble everything by smashing the phone violently to the ground, then clinging to Christian, rubbing against him in an attempt to awaken his primal instincts. Mr. Christian. But she underestimated Christian's sharpness. Christian effortlessly pushed her away and bent down to catch the phone before it even hit the ground, now firmly in his grasp. Mr. Christian, Hilda screamed, her voice piercing enough to rupture eardrums. Wait, don't look, those are all fake. Christian grew increasingly convinced that Hilda was acting strangely. He held back the lunging Hilda with one hand while swiftly unlocking the screen with the other. Surprisingly, Gloria hadn't set a lock screen password. It was Gloria who intentionally wanted him to see it. Realizing this, Christian's hands began to tremble. Upon opening it, there was a video and an audio clip. Hilda cried out beside him, Mr. Christian, don't look. She even tried to lunge forward and snatch it, but Christian had her restrained. Christian trembling hands opened the video, likely taken secretly, with very dim lighting. The moment he spoke, it was a familiar voice. Gloria asked, was this car accident really an accident? If you refuse to admit it, you could face jail time. Car accident. Christian tensed his muscles, instantly recalling Hilda being hit into a bloody mess and collapsing silently before him. It was also from that moment that his feelings for Hilda drastically changed. Believing Gloria had innocently harmed such a pitiful girl who loved him. Could it be? Christian's breathing grew heavier. Was there more to this car accident than met the eye? Soon, the driver gave him the answer. It's unclear what they discussed at the beginning of the recording, but the driver's voice was filled with remorse. No, someone told me to hit this woman. They said as long as I controlled the force and just injured her, she would break a blood pack herself. After it was done, not only would she not pursue it, but she would also give me 100,000 yuan to treat my seriously ill mother who's bedridden. Gloria calmly asked, what's your mother's name? Driver, Maggie. Hearing this familiar yet unfamiliar name, Christian's gaze heavily fell upon Hilda, his eyes gradually turning crimson. His memory was excellent. With just a slight recollection, he remembered that Hilda's bedridden mother was also named Maggie. On the night of Gloria's welcome back banquet, Hilda had used this excuse to call him to the hospital. Even this was a lie. Hilda shook her head frantically, incoherently repeating, no, it's not like this. It was Gloria who framed me, unfortunately. Her earlier struggle to snatch the phone had already planted deep suspicion in Christian's mind. Maggie was lying in the hospital and couldn't run away, so Christian immediately called his assistant to investigate the matter. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed Hilda's face had turned nearly transparent, and suddenly understanding dawned on him as he ended the call. No need to investigate further. The guilty expression on the woman's face was enough to reveal everything. It was all a trap she had designed, and he foolishly dragged Gloria into it, repeatedly hurting Gloria. His knuckles turned white from gripping too tightly. Christian took a deep breath, his heart aching as he played the next recording. This time, it was Hilda speaking with the kidnapper. A man's greasy voice came through. Hilda immediately widened her eyes. Due to time constraints, she hadn't heard this part of the recording yet. Gloria, how was this done? The kidnapper said. That damn woman got away. She said if I didn't let her go, she'd kill herself. How dare I mess with Mr. Christian's woman? In the audio, Hilda fumed. Didn't I tell you to humiliate her? Why did you change your mind at the last minute? Fine. Since it's come to this, the audio cuts out for a moment. Hilda speaks up. I'll tell the police your location, and you help me frame Gloria. Afterward, I'll give your family a sum of hush money. Before the recording finishes playing, Christian couldn't bear to listen any longer. Overwhelmed by intense guilt and burning rage, the thought that all of this was Hilda's scheme, that Hilda had repeatedly set up Shinruji, while he had chosen to side with the perpetrator, he was going mad. Hilda quickly racked her brain. The only thing she could do now was to repeat her old trick and evoke Christian's sympathy for her. Mr. Christian, I was momentarily bewitched to do such a thing, but you can't blame me. I love you too much. Love shouldn't be about who comes first. I love you and am willing to do anything for you. But what about Gloria? She's a heartless woman who disregards all you've done for her. Ugh, Hilda's heartfelt confession didn't move Christian as it usually did. He felt nothing but intense murderous intent toward the woman before him and slapped her across the face. If your face didn't resemble Gloria's, I I wouldn't have even glanced at you back then. Now, he only felt Hilda utterly repulsive. For she had disgraced this face that bore a 50 to 60% resemblance to Gloria. Christian raised his voice and called for his bodyguards, disfigure her face and throw her into a beggar's den to be humiliated by anyone. Whatever Hilda had done to Gloria, he would repay 100-fold upon Hilda herself. No, Hilda shrieked, Mr. Christian, you can't do this to me. Can Christian cast a glance at her, wielding a sickle, force-feed her the medicine, also record the video with the beggar and send it to the entertainment media. He wants Hilda to be utterly disgraced. Hilda was dragged away like a broken doll, her face streaked with helpless tears, the love in her eyes for Christian turning into hatred. Even if you bring Gloria back, do you think she'll forgive you? I don't believe you're unaware. She's a proud woman who would never accept a man who plays both sides. Christian, his eyes were nearly black, burning with intense fire. We've loved each other for so long. If I apologize, she'll definitely forgive me. Ha, Hilda laughed mockingly. Forgive you? Do you even know what you allowed me to do to her? At this point, Hilda only wanted to thrust the sharpest sword into Christian's heart, making him taste a living hell. At the auction, I was the one who called her to the underground garage. She saw with her own eyes how you pinned me against the car and kissed me. In the basement, she suffered from claustrophobia. Huddled in a corner, utterly alone and helpless, it was you who allowed me to visit her. I released rats into the basement, letting them gnaw at her skin. I even splashed chili water on the wedding dress, the one you forced her to wear. When the chili touched her wounds, the pain must have been unforgettable. Even your rings, I had the designer alter the sizes, and I arranged for them to be stolen. And you, clueless as ever, ha 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 ha. Hilda wanted to say more, but Christian clamped his hands over his ears and roared, enough, shut up, you vile woman, you deserve to die. He smashed the ashtray onto Hilda's head, causing a blood-red flower to bloom, and Hilda slowly closed her eyes. The air was devoid of Hilda's lethally sharp words, yet Christian could hear them echoing endlessly in his ears. His heart felt as if it were being tightly gripped by a large hand, the pain forcing him to half kneel. I'm sorry, with red-rimmed eyes, he murmured, wife. Where are you? I'm sorry. Ring, ring, ring. The piercing ringtone shattered the dead silence as the assistant's urgent voice came through. Mr. Christian, we've found the flight information. She's gone back abroad. Christian's eyes lit up with intensity. Prepare the private jet immediately. As she boarded the plane, Gloria felt an unexpected calm, devoid of sorrow or excitement. It was a stark contrast to how she had felt during her last return to the country. Just as she was about to put on her eye mask, a tall figure walked down the aisle and stopped right beside her seat, speaking in a gentle voice. Hello, I have the window seat. Gloria paused for a moment, and as she stood up, she inadvertently caught sight of the man's face. Although Christian's looks were already top tier, having spent so much time with Christian, she rarely found other men handsome anymore. Yet, this man's gentle and refined demeanor was of a different type compared to Christian, equally pleasing to the eye. Just then, her phone vibrated. It was a call from her advisor. Gloria spoke fluently in a foreign language with her advisor, and when she addressed the advisor by name, she noticed the man beside her glancing in her direction. After updating her advisor on the current situation, she cast a puzzled look at him. The man simply smiled faintly, moving his lips to mention the name of their school classmate. Are you heading back to campus too? Gloria hadn't expected to meet a fellow alumnus here and broke into a smile. Yes, what a coincidence. But they didn't exchange many words before the announcement signaled the imminent takeoff. Gloria had no intention of disturbing other passengers' peace in public. After nodding slightly, she put on her eye mask and kept to herself. After the plane landed, they exited the airport one after the other, but the crowded terminal soon separated them. Gloria didn't foolishly try to search for him. After all, he was just a fellow alumnus she'd met once. Upon returning to campus, her advisor, who had a mentor-friend relationship with her, showed great concern for her personal life. Gloria casually mentioned a few words, and her advisor was already clenching his fists in righteous indignation, angrily cursing in awkward Chinese. Such a man is truly blind. To bully an outstanding woman like you, it doesn't matter, my dear Gloria, it's his loss. After you chose to continue your studies, I applied for a research project group for you, which happens to be related to your homeland. The advisor pulled out the project brief and handed it to Gloria. If this project is completed, the future will be bright. The only drawback is that it requires confidentiality, and the return date is uncertain. Before the advisor could finish speaking, Gloria agreed without hesitation. No problem, teacher, I would love to contribute to my homeland. This was Gloria's unexpected delight this month. As Christian had said, she had no parents left and nothing else to hold her back. The advisor laughed heartily, patting Gloria on the shoulder. I always knew Gloria was a heroine among women, but of course, I can't bear to let you go alone to such a remote country. At that moment, the office door was knocked a few times. The advisor let him in and said to Gloria, "This is a new student I took in this year. From the same country as you and also interested in this project. You two can accompany each other on this journey." Gloria looked up and was astonished to see the man from the plane. Edison wasn't surprised at all. He had heard his mentor's voice on the plane and naturally knew Gloria's identity. With a sunny smile, he said, "Hello, senior, since you've agreed to, let's set off together." The mentor still had matters to attend to and waved them off, telling them to discuss properly among themselves and depart as soon as possible. Edison invited Gloria to a restaurant near the school, where they discussed their flight scheduled for tonight. As he spoke, Edison placed the dish in front of him onto Gloria's plate. Meeting Gloria's surprised gaze, he smiled and said, "Senior, you've reached for this dish several times. We're all family here, no need to be polite." Gloria blushed slightly and thanked him. Feeling somewhat intrigued by Edison, previously bound by her engagement, she had maintained her integrity and never deeply interacted with any man other than Christian. At this thought, Gloria slowed her swallowing. If it weren't for Edison, she wouldn't have thought of Christian the entire day, the man who was once her entire world. She hadn't even paid attention to the wedding that was missing its bride. Presumably, Christian had already discovered Hilda's true identity, and the wedding had turned into a farce. This was her final gift to Christian. From then on, they would be separated by an ocean, and she wanted nothing more to do with him. After dinner, she and Edison headed straight to the airport. Because she had such a pleasant conversation with Edison, Gloria didn't notice that she had brushed past a man in a hurry. Christian's direct flight was not smooth. They happened to encounter a thunderstorm, forcing the plane to make an emergency landing, which delayed them considerably before they could arrive in this unfamiliar country. To make matters worse, due to the company's busy schedule and having Hilda by his side, he had never traveled abroad to meet Gloria. Being unfamiliar with the place and having already wasted most of the day, fortunately, he knew Gloria's major and her advisor. After asking for directions fluently in a foreign language, he headed straight to the academic building. But all he got was the advisor's sarcastic remark, "You say you're Gloria's fiancé. As far as I know, she only had a deceased boyfriend." Christian didn't know whether the advisor was joking with him or being deliberately difficult, but he didn't care. The only thing he wanted was to find Gloria. Thus, the proud son of heaven Christian humbled himself for the first time. "I'm sorry, Professor, there have been many misunderstandings between us. Could you tell me where she is? I need to find her and explain everything." But the advisor coldly and firmly refused to disclose any information. "She's gone to another country for a project. I don't know the exact location." Christian's influence was widespread domestically, but it couldn't yet reach into foreign territories. He could only rely on layers of connections, going through great hardships to obtain airport information, only to be told a week later that there were no Gloria's flight records. He didn't know that Gloria had taken the Gu family's private jet, leaving no trace that could be traced. 3 years later, at the A-City Talent Welcome reception, Gloria and Edison were introduced to a city as outstanding overseas talents. The city's leadership highly valued and warmly welcomed them, specially organizing a reception to express their gratitude. Gloria, dressed in an evening gown, stood in the opulent hotel lobby. The leader cheerfully shook her hand and complimented her and Edison beside her. "You two are truly a perfect match. If wedding bells are near, you must inform me." Edison cut in before Gloria could respond. "Of course, thank you, Director Chen." After the leader left, Gloria shot Edison a coquettish glare. "Why do you always have to jump in and answer everything?" Over 3 years, the two had spent countless moments together, naturally growing much closer. During this time, Edison had confessed his feelings to Gloria multiple times, but Gloria had yet to give him an answer. Edison was an exceptional man who treated her with utmost care, and Gloria couldn't help but be moved. However, she wanted to wait until returning home before making a decision. Because returning home would inevitably mean encountering Christian, and she couldn't be certain whether Edison would hold any reservations about what had happened between her and Christian in the past. As it turned out, her premonition wasn't wrong. While standing on stage receiving commendation from the leadership, she keenly sensed an undeniable, intensely palpable gaze from the audience. Following the gaze, Gloria looked composed. It was indeed Christian. She hadn't kept up with news about him in recent years, so she was quite surprised to see how much Christian had aged. Christian couldn't contain his excitement and exhilaration. Before attending the awards ceremony, he had long known Gloria would return. Yet it still felt like a dream, his feet unable to touch solid ground. Only now, as he locked eyes with Gloria, did he finally feel the flutter of genuine happiness. For the past 3 years, he had never given up searching for Gloria, but the world was simply too vast. Despite tirelessly expanding his business overseas day and night, he still found no trace of Gloria. Fortunately, she had returned on her own, willingly coming back to his side. Listening to the many praises around him about the handsome man and beautiful woman on stage, Christian remained unfazed, for no other reason than his absolute certainty that Gloria's heart belonged only to him. He had occupied Gloria's entire youth, and the rest of her life would be no exception. He waited until Gloria slipped away to the restroom. Christian quickly set down his wine glass and hurried after her. Gloria was washing her hands when she heard the man's hoarse yet joyful voice. "Darling, you're finally back." Christian strode over, wanting to embrace her, but she pushed him away with one swift motion. On the woman's mature and refined face was a coldness and resistance he had never anticipated. "Mr. Christian, long time no see, I've already broken up with you, and the engagement is cancelled. Please don't address me so familiarly. This also counts as sexual harassment." Christian was stunned, instinctively retorting, "Impossible, darling, don't lie to me. You love me so much that even when you returned to the country, you came straight to the city where I am." Gloria sighed helplessly. "This is because City A is a domestic high-tech development zone, which is more suitable for her professional field of research. Of course, she couldn't possibly give up her future just because of Christian." Seeing the woman remain silent, Christian's voice faltered. "Darling, I didn't handle things well back then. Hilda revealed many truths to me. She kept driving a wedge between us. I was too foolish 3 years ago, believing her one-sided words and hurting you. Please forgive me. These years without you, my life has lost all meaning. I often dream of you, waking up each time filled with anxiety, yet I desperately long to see you. I can only drown myself in alcohol and cigarettes, letting them numb me. Only then can I faintly recapture a fraction of the happiness I felt when you were by my side. Darling, during the time you were away, I didn't seek out any other women. My heart belongs only to you now that you're back. Let's get married again. I swear you'll be the only one for me in this lifetime." "All right." Gloria wondered if she was seeing things. She actually caught Christian with glistening eyes, but she had long stopped caring. This apology was something she had desperately waited for a whole month. But 3 years too late made it cheaper than worthless weeds. "Sorry, but I didn't come back for you this time, nor do I intend to mend our relationship." Gloria wanted to say more, but Christian couldn't help holding her tightly in his arms. "Darling, 3 years ago it was all Hilda's doing. I've already made her pay the price. I know you're still angry, but please don't say these hurtful words. It really hurts here." He wanted to take her hand and place it over his left chest, but Gloria forcefully pulled away and slapped Christian across the face. With a merciless smack, Christian froze in place. Gloria wore an icy expression. "Christian, stay away from me." Since Christian shamelessly keeps bringing up events from 3 years ago, Gloria doesn't mind refreshing his memory, whether it was you abandoning me in a deserted parking lot, locking me in a basement, or forcing me to wear Hilda's wedding dress. You were the mastermind behind it all. The harm done to me was by your own hands. Don't you dare shift the blame onto Hilda. You and Hilda are equally despicable. How dare you have the audacity to come crawling back to me for reconciliation? Christian, let me make this perfectly clear. I neither love nor hate you. You're just a passing figure in my life. Taking advantage of Christian's prolonged days, Gloria quickly left with her bag. Along the way, she vigorously wiped the areas of her skin that Christian had touched with alcohol. She found it disgusting. Back in Edison's car, he keenly noticed her emotional turmoil and subtly probed, "What's wrong?" In fact, over the past 3 years, Gloria rarely mentioned her ex in front of him. Edison only vaguely knew that her ex was Christian, and that Christian had betrayed Gloria when they were about to get married. Of course, Edison had the ability to investigate, but he preferred Gloria to tell him herself. Gloria took a sip of the mineral water Edison had opened, remained silent for a moment, then suddenly spoke out of the blue. "I think you should know about my past with Christian before deciding whether to continue pursuing me." It was a memory so dark and extreme that few could bear the thought of their girlfriend having endured such humiliation and suffering. She was pondering where to begin explaining her relationship with Christian, but Edison unexpectedly grew displeased. "There's no need to tell me about these things." Gloria loosened her grip on the water bottle. nearly spilling it on herself. This was Edison's first time displaying a negative attitude in front of her. Was it because he couldn't accept her relationship with Christian? Was that why he felt he'd wasted his time on her and refused to listen to her story? It's okay, Gloria told herself, this is only human nature. She desperately wanted to force a smile and crack a joke to break the heavy silence, but her mind was in chaos. In the end, she could only hastily wipe the dampness from the corner of her eye and reach to open the car door. I just remembered there's something urgent I need to take care of, but the car door had already been locked by Edison. He leaned toward Gloria, and Gloria suddenly noticed that Edison's usually sparkling pupils were now frighteningly dark. Then, Edison spoke coldly, I like the present you, the future you, it has nothing to do with the past. Christian hurt you, he made you unhappy. I don't need you to reopen old wounds, Gloria. I want you to be carefree with me, our relationship is pure. It doesn't need to be tainted by anything filthy. The man's confession once again left Gloria stunned, but at the same time, her initial sorrow was replaced by a wave of warmth, and Gloria softened entirely. Okay. Gloria heard herself agreeing to Edison's confession. I like you too, let's be together. At that moment, the starry sky outside paled in comparison to the radiance of the man before her. The next day, Gloria received an email from a stranger while at work. But upon reading its contents, she immediately realized it was from Christian. At the welcome reception for new talents, the leader didn't forget to recommend her to promising organizations while introducing her. Christian must have taken it to heart, sending her an offer letter and extending an olive branch. The terms were very favorable, with compensation likely second only to Christian's position as CEO. But Gloria didn't inform her superiors that she had already started working at Edison's family business. It was a position well suited to her, obtained without any backdoor dealings. She promptly sent Christian her business card, telling him to stop harassing her, then casually blocked his email. But soon, Gloria regretted her impulsive action, because an unknown delivery rider contacted her, sending her a large bouquet of lilies and dozens of milk teas enough to treat her colleagues, along with a note, Darling, I won't give up pursuing you. Please forgive me, Christian. The people in the office didn't know Gloria was the future boss's wife, and they all started teasing, making Gloria even more furious. For dozens of days in a row, the gifts ended up in the trash, but Gloria's inner virtue of frugality was at play, leaving her extremely troubled. That day, at the familiar time, came yet another unfamiliar call. Gloria answered, assuming it was a delivery rider. Hey, could you please tell the restaurant not to send it over? I don't know who ordered this. You can handle it yourself. But after a moment of silence on the other end, Gloria heard a familiar voice. Honey, it's me. Gloria wanted to hang up immediately, but then she thought of the extra burden it would add for the cleaning lady in the trash. Suppressing her disgust, she said, I won't touch anything you send over. Stop sending me your trash, Christian. Do you not understand the words it's over? The woman's tone couldn't conceal her irritation. Christian was instantly speechless. I want you to forgive me. Gloria tooted and laid her cards on the table. I already have a boyfriend. There's no way we're getting back together. Christian, let's part on good terms and not end up resenting each other. You have a boyfriend. Christian's breathing instantly became erratic. Is it true, Gloria? Are you lying to me, Mr. Christian? How shameless can you be? Gloria realized that once the rose-tinted glasses of love were removed, Christian was just as insufferably ordinary and self-assured as any other average man. The harm you caused me, I'm already forgetting, but your repeated appearances, are they meant to remind me of how utterly humiliated I was back then? This sentence hit Christian right where it hurts. He deeply loved Gloria, and had heard that forced love is not sweet, and knew that true love sometimes means letting go, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't bear the thought of his woman being happy with another man. Gloria had made significant progress in major projects over the past 3 years, becoming a figure even the authorities took seriously, no longer inferior to Christian as before. She raised her voice, if you persist in your stubbornness, I will contact the authorities. When the time comes, with the mobilization of official forces, even industry leaders like Christian would be powerless. Christian said, Gloria, can we meet one last time? Give me one final chance, just to bring closure to what we had before. Gloria wanted to say that he had already destroyed their past, but Christian lowered his voice, his words trembling with emotion. This is my last attempt to win you back. If you still don't want to be with me, then, I'll respect your decision. After a moment's thought, Gloria agreed. If she could solve the problem herself, it would naturally be better to avoid future troubles. Gloria never expected that Christian would take her back to their alma mater, this familiar yet foreign place. She hadn't returned since going abroad, which now felt like a regret. Under Gloria's deliberately maintained distance, they walked one after the other along the campus path. Christian pointed to the nearby playground, his pupils reflecting the woman's petite silhouette, and said with overflowing affection, "Our freshman year nights were all professional courses. After each class, we would take a walk around the playground, sharing what happened to each of us that day, never tiring of it." Arriving at the cafeteria, Christian stopped, turned his head to look at Gloria. "This is your favorite dining hall. I wonder if your preferred stalls are still there. Shall we go in and see?" Gloria shook her head. No, rather than reminiscing about the past, she preferred to visit her academic advisor in the teaching building, a teacher who had helped her a great deal. But Christian clearly didn't grasp her meaning and instead looked toward the large locust tree by the sports field. "This is a lover's spot, Gloria. Remember, we used to sunbathe here, and when the mood struck, we would even kiss." Before he could finish, Gloria interrupted. "Christian, for me, those aren't happy memories. If possible, I wish I had never met you." The deeper the pain that follows, the more bitter and ironic the beautiful memories become. At that moment, someone called their names from behind, exclaiming in surprise, "Gloria, Zayue." Gloria turned around and saw the counselor she had been missing. The woman immediately flashed a radiant smile, which stung Christian's eyes. This was a treatment he had never received since her return to the country. The counselor didn't know they had already broken up. After asking about Gloria's study abroad experience, they sighed to Christian, "You must treat Gloria well in the future." Originally a 3-year program, Gloria completed it in just 2 years by working overtime, exhausting herself to the point of falling ill. "I'm old friends with their advisor. Her advisor often told me that Gloria studies and works like there's no tomorrow. All to return sooner and be with you." Christian had no idea about these details. For a moment, he didn't know how to react, his usually sharp business mind grinding to a halt as he murmured, "She always told me it was a 2-year program." The counselor laughed heartily. "This is a white lie she told to keep you from worrying about her." Gloria also smiled and admitted frankly, "Teacher, we've already broken up." Such a simple sentence left the counselor momentarily speechless. Gloria spared the counselor any awkwardness, stepping forward to affectionately link arms with her. "Teacher, I really appreciated your recommendation back then. The professors abroad took extra care of me because of you." Christian lagged a step behind them, his heart filled with an indescribable bitterness, as if the gallbladders of all the snakes in the world were churning in his stomach, and he could only swallow it down hard, because this was the punishment Gloria had inflicted on him for missing her true feelings. Until the setting sun bled red, the two stood once again outside the school gates. Christian felt timid for the first time, wanting to flee like a rat crossing the street. Too afraid to ask Gloria if she was willing to reconcile. "I'm really grateful you took me back to campus, and I got to see the counselor who helped me so much back then. But when it comes to our relationship, I truly don't want to recall it. What you're doing only tarnishes the few good memories I have left in the adult world." There's no need to say too much, because words are always so cold and cruel. The wind and snow turn into blades, slicing inch by inch through Christian's skin, making his flesh bloom. A black luxury car pulled up in front of them. The window rolled down to reveal Edison's face, but Edison couldn't be bothered to pay attention to Christian. His eyes were only on Gloria, smiling gently at her. "Hungry? Get in the car, I'll take you to eat something delicious." Gloria curled her lips without giving Christian another glance, stepping directly into the car. Christian didn't chase after them either. Edison. He later looked into the background of this seemingly insignificant man and discovered that the Gu family's influence ran deeper than the Carnell family's, someone he couldn't afford to provoke. If Gloria were willing to return to him, he would spare no expense or even his own life to take her back from Edison. But now it was clear that Gloria no longer loved him. He had lost the woman who once loved him deeply. The thought had barely flickered through his mind when Christian clutched his left chest in pain, bent over trembling, and suddenly spat out a mouthful of bright red blood. Tears streamed down his cheeks, falling heavily to the ground and seeping into the soil, as if nothing had ever happened. 2 years later, Edison and Gloria tied the knot, on the same day. The president of the Carnell family was hospitalized due to excessive alcohol consumption, suffering from severe alcohol poisoning. Despite rescue efforts, he was pronounced dead. The end.